Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. James Gang Radio Podcast has returned. It's been a minute, but we are here back again. And I have on the phone with me a very special guest. This is Michael Franzese. He was a member of the Colombo crime family in the 80s. He was in on the tax rackets in Florida. Talked to him a little bit about that and maybe some more stuff. He's now devoted his life to God and spends a lot of time doing that. So first of all, Michael, thank you for coming to the show.
No, you're welcome, Warren. Thanks for having me.
All right. First of all, I want to talk to you first about Sonny Franzese, your father. He's the oldest living made man alive. I think almost at 100, and he goes back to the 1930s with Joe Profaci and Charlie Luciano was still around, and those guys. Did he ever talk about any of those guys?
Yeah, he did. I mean, we've had obviously several conversations throughout the years, especially when we were, both heavily involved. So he spoke about him. He gave me his feelings on him, who he thought was, a good representative of the family at that point in time. So, we talked pretty much about that.
Okay, that's good. And he is the current underboss. Am I right? He's in prison, right?
Yeah, he's in prison. He's 99 years old. He's released next year, June of 2017. He'll be 100 when he walks out.
Yeah.
He is still considered the underboss of the family, and at 99, he's still alive and kicking.
Wow. Not many people can say that, especially in that world. Doing that type of thing. They either go to jail forever or they pass in a very not so good way. But
no, that's true.
Yeah. Can you walk me through how you got quote unquote made, Michael?
It was a ceremony. My dad proposed me into the life, meaning that you can't just walk into that life. Somebody has to propose you, vouch for you, say you have what it takes. And so he proposed me in early 1970s. I was in kind of a recruit period where I had to prove myself worthy of being a member. That lasted almost 2 years. And then on Halloween night, 1975, I actually took an oath with 5 other gentlemen, a very serious oath. I walked into a room where the boss of the family was seated at kind of a horseshoe configuration. The underboss and the consigliere to his left and right, all the captains were alongside of them. I stood in front of the boss, held out my hand, he took a knife, cut my finger, some blood dropped on the floor, and then I cupped my hands. He took a picture of a saint, the Catholic altar card, put it in my hands and lit it aflame. And he said, tonight, Michael Franzese, you are born again into a new life, into La Cosa Nostra, this thing of ours. Violate what you know about this life, will betray your brothers, and you'll die and burn in hell like the saint is burning in your hands. And that's the oath. And, that's what you go through in order to become a member.
Wow. Who was boss at the time, Mike?
Well, Persico, Carmine Persico was the boss. He's now doing life in prison, but Tom DeBello was acting boss because Persico was in prison at that point in time.
Right.
And Tom is passed on now. So he was kind of acting boss until Persico got out.
Right. The Colombo family is known for having wars amongst themselves. Were you involved in any of that when it went on? I think they had 3 different wars amongst themselves. Were you involved in any of the factions and the split up and the arena faction and the Persico faction?
Yeah, I was involved, in the latter one, in the early 90s with Arena and Versico. I was in jail most of the time, but, I did get involved. I was on parole for a bit, too, and unfortunately get dragged into this, but I'm one of the survivors, one of the few.
Right. I want to shift your focus for just a minute and ask you about a guy in the Colombo crime family, if you can speak on it for just a minute. Can you talk about Greg Scarpa?
Yeah, I knew Greg well. That was my hero. We were around at the same time. And quite honestly, Greg was not the most likable guy around. Unfortunately, none of us knew he was a government informant for over 25 years. But listen, that life is like anything else. There's some guys that you just get a good feeling for and you become friendly with, and you believe that they'll have your back and you'll have his. And then you have a guy like Scarpa who wasn't the most pleasant guy to be around. I don't like to say bad things about anybody, but let's just put it this way: he wasn't one of my favorite guys.
Well, I understand that. Yeah, the legend has it, and I'm sure you've heard this, that they made the movie in 1988, Mississippi Burning, about the FBI going down to Mississippi to help the black people register to vote down there because they were having trouble. Whites were, the 3 missing civil rights workers had disappeared in Neshoba County, I think it was, and that Greg Scarpa was a FBI informant, had went down there and had bought a TV from a guy, and then when the guy was put in his trunk, Scarpa stuffed him in the trunk and took him out in the middle of nowhere, beat the living you-know-what out of him, and got the information. I didn't know if you ever heard that story, if there was any truth to it, or of course, I don't imagine he's going to tell you that if he's working for the FBI, I'm sure he's not going to go around telling that story, but I didn't know if you'd ever heard that.
Well, obviously, we didn't hear it that way, that he was doing it on behalf of the FBI, but let's put it this way. You can bet that there's some truth to that.
Say that one more time, Mike.
I said you can bet that there was some truth to that. Obviously, we didn't know you did it on behalf of the FBI back then, but there's truth to that story. Wow. Let's leave it at that.
That's astonishing. That's crazy. In these Colombo wars, what was the problem? Why were they always fighting amongst themselves? Why is it just Carmine's people and are just doing this and that, and Arena and all those guys, and it's just a power struggle ended up being, is what, right? Just power. Is that what it was over?
It's always power. It's money and power, unfortunately, that really sets the mark in that life. And anytime there is a struggle within the family, it's power and it's money.
Right.
They go hand in hand, and that's what it's all about. But it's very unfortunate, but it's one of the evils of that life, and it's one of the reasons why I believe, I don't think it'll go away in my lifetime, but if the government continues to put pressure on it, continues to use these laws, these racketeering laws, so on and so forth, they'll do some damage. Trust me.
But yeah, Persico is still quote unquote acting boss. Am I right about that?
Yeah, he's still listed as the boss. It's pretty hard to maintain control when you're in prison, but he's got family members that are still active on the street, and he still has control. He's got a grip. I don't know what good it'll do him. I don't think he's ever going to come out of prison, but that's another matter. Right.
You think the mob is dead? You think the mob, La Cosa Nostra, is pretty much, for the most part, persona non grata?
Well, what do you mean persona non grata among who?
Just the public in general. As far as they don't have you don't see the John Gottis anymore, or Joel Messinas or the guys like that. They're not out flashing. They're not out following people with the cameras and stuff like that. They pretty much went back into hiding and trying to get back to the old way of doing things, or so I was told. And there's just not many of them left. A lot of them are in prison or have died.
First of all, they're not hiding. I mean, they're doing what they should have been doing. You got to understand. And I was a friend of John, so I'm not demeaning him in any way. But John Gotti was not good for that life. You can't be that high profile. You can't thumb your nose in the government's face. You can't, try to become some kind of an anti-hero and don't think that the government is going to come down on you with full force. And that's exactly what they did. In the old days, guys weren't as out there as much. They didn't want to notice. They didn't want to have that. They did things quietly, and that's the way it has to go.
Right.
When I was on the street in New York alone, they had over 1,200 FBI agents that were, on the force for 750 made members. Today they have less than 200. And that life hasn't gone away. All 5 families are still there. They're still active. They just do it differently. And in my opinion, they're building up again.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to see it go away in my lifetime. I can tell you that much.
No, I don't think it'll ever go away. It's a place in society, I guess, because you go from back in the day of them, palling around with Frank Sinatra to, the Gottis and, those type of guys. And you're absolutely right about him thumbing his nose at the government. That was probably the dumbest thing that could have been, that he could have done. When you don't poke a lion, don't poke a lion, and that's exactly what he did. He basically had a sign to come after me. He just, and they did. They put everything they could to get him.
The higher your profile, the more trouble you're going to have, and that's exactly what happened with John.
Right.
It's unfortunate. I don't think he got it, but he in the end he ended up destroying himself with having such a high profile. I think that's a lesson to everybody that followed him. So maybe guys are getting a little smarter now. They haven't gone away. They're still doing things, but they're just doing it differently.
Right. Okay. Did you know John? You said you were a friend of his. You know him, so I assume you knew him pretty good, or at least.
I know him very well. Yeah, I knew John very well. We had a lot of meetings together. We had a lot of social events together, and socially I liked him very much. It was difficult to deal with business-wise, but socially we got along very well. I'm very close with certain of his family members now, and they're all, in my opinion, very nice people. John was John, and there's no reason to say anything more about it. I mean, his profile was high enough for everybody to formulate their own opinion, but I liked him.
Right. Well, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you there. I talked one more thing about this. You tell me about the 80s, the term that was coined for you called the Yuppie Don. I know you probably hate that, and I would hate it too. But like I said, the media coined you the Yuppie Don. But that's about the time. I guess you had relocated to Florida, maybe around this time.
Well, I think I got that tag because I was a young guy. I operated kind of differently than the guys that would sit in the club. I had a jet plane and a helicopter. I was jet setting it all over the country, and I was making a lot of money, and I was making movies in California. So they kind of thought that tagline was appropriate. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the term of yuppie, but that's what it was. So I guess in a way, more rag on me, but it didn't really hurt. It just was there.
How much did you think those gas tax rackets brought in, all give or take a little? How much do you think you made off that that racket, and how long did it run for?
Well, I ran the operation for 7 years, and look, we got $100 million that was lost on an annual basis, maybe billions. I mean, it was a lot of money.
Goodness.
That's for sure. Can you hold 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
I just got a package at my house. But anyway, it was probably the most probation that mob has seen. The media says since the days of Al Capone, so I don't know if that's a fact or not, but it'll be hard to duplicate the kind of money that we accumulated through that gas tax scheme that I created, obviously, but that was then, this is now.
I believe you're right, sir. I do believe you're right. There was a lot of money, and like I said, keeping it going for 7 years. I want to take you back to a story I think that you had talked about. I was watching one of the National Geographic shows, and it talked about you met up with one of your friends. He was another, maybe he was a made guy, where y'all had to sit down, and when y'all leave, he told you your father really didn't do you any favors in there. And I was kind of, what was the story behind that? If you felt comfortable talking about that, or if you didn't, we'll definitely move on.
Well, I've talked about it many times. One of the horrible things in that life is you can make a mistake, you're not really aware of it. Your best friend walks you into a room, you don't walk out again. And unfortunately, that's one of the, horrible things about that life. And I was in that experience one night when I got walked into a room, and it was over money, as usual. And I didn't know if I was going to walk out again. And it was a pretty scary feeling. I mean, I walked in, and obviously I walked out, but, it was meant to put some fear in me. I was told that my dad, who was in the room before me, didn't help me out. And he kind of threw me under the bus. And I know it's true. I understand. But, I know that life, and I understand what happens to people. And, I still love my dad. We've patched things up since then. And, it's one of the things you have to deal with when you willingly take that oath. And so I knew what I was getting into. And fortunately, I survived it. I mean, that's the best way to describe it.
You said you patched it. You're close with your father again? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll never be as close as we once were, but we've certainly patched it up, and, we speak, and we're on very good terms in that regard. Our lives have gone in different directions, and
right.
We're both aware of it.
Right.
But we love each other.
Well, he's your father, yeah, and you're his son.
Right.
So I understand that. What made you decide to go to Christianity, Michael?
Well, I didn't decide to go to it. My wife was a strong Christian, as was my mother-in-law.
Okay.
They introduced me to Christ, and through this process that I went through, and very big reflection and a lot of study and research about not only the Christian faith but other faiths. And remember, I grew up as a Catholic, so it wasn't that strange to me. But
right.
For me, Christianity works. It's been part of my life for 20 years. I believe in it with all my heart, and I think I wouldn't be alive if God didn't have a different purpose for me in my life, and He's made that very clear to me. So, for me, it's not about a religion. It's about faith. It's about a belief, and it's about what is the truth. And this is my truth, and I think it's the truth for everybody, whether they realize it or not. That's just my feeling on it, because you can't have 10 different truths when it comes to eternity. You know, there's, in my opinion, one road that leads you there, and I believe I'm on the right one.
It's good. I'm glad to hear it. That's very good. Very good. I'm glad you've got some peace in your life, sir. Because spending a lifetime of having to watch over your shoulder is probably not a good life to live at all. Probably not. It's just not healthy. But you were, like I said, you were born into it. You know, but like I said, I'm glad you and your dad speak. Like I said, you said it'll never be like it once was, and I understand that. You know, he believes in certain things, and you do your thing, and you know, it's just the way it is. And I'm glad that you've found some peace, Michael. And like I say, do you have anything coming up? Any places you'll be going where people can see you? Anything you want to tell the audience?
I'll be in Detroit this weekend at the church in Lakeland, I believe. I'll be speaking there. I have a very active speaking schedule. I also have a movie coming out titled God the Father that'll be out on November 1st, playing in select theaters nationwide. I'm doing, I'm writing another book. I'll be in the United Kingdom next year on a pretty big speaking tour. I'll be doing about 20 days as far as I've been told. So a lot coming up. God is using me. I think we have a lot of projects that we're working on. My ministry, Michael Franzese Ministries, is in full swing. We're helping a lot of at-risk youth. We're planning to go into the city of Chicago and try to help with the gang situation and the abhorrent amount of murders and killings that are going on in that city. Yes. So we got a lot on the board, and I'm extremely active and very appreciative of where I am, and hopefully that we can spread some of this encouragement that I've had in my life to others.
Right. Well, Mr. Franzese, I want to take this time and I want to thank you for taking the time to come speak to me on the James Gang Radio podcast and speak to the people who listen to my program. From all of us, we say thank you very much. I know you didn't have to do this, but you did it anyway. So for that, I say thank you.
I appreciate that, Warren. Thank you very much, and good luck with everything that you're doing. And hopefully, people will tune in and they'll be entertained and maybe encouraged by not only this cast but all the others that you do. So keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying good work. That's great. From Michael Franzese, so that's pretty good. For Michael Franzese, I'm Warren G. Walker. I'll be signing off. Thank you very much. This is James Gang Radio.